Welcome to the Hardy's Hotline. I am Cammie, the Hooked Hardy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah, the Hawk-Eyed Hardy, and we're here today to talk about none other than Season 13, Episode 9 of When Calls the Heart, Lost
Lost
and
and found
Found Again.
again. Jinx!
So for some comic relief, that was quite a hoot to have Lucas, of all people.
He started it.
That was crazy.
I mean, I could see him going along with it, but he
Yeah.
started the whole thing.
Yes, very fun, very playful, especially given that things are kind of rocky with them right now. So seeing him like have that softer side with her at the same time, instead of just being nervous talking to her, which he clearly was,
Or
um,
just being all business.
which he also seemed to use as his excuse, but you know he would have called her anyway.
Of course he would have. Now, do you know that the origin of the word jinx started in the 1910s in baseball?
Well, I was curious after hearing him say it. I was like, why? When did this get started?
So it started because they were describing unlucky players or teams in
Oh,
baseball. So that's being a jinx or being jinxed, as in unlucky.
okay.
But being jinxed, as in saying the same thing at the same time, that didn't become particularly popular until the 1950s to the 1970s. So they took a tiny bit of liberties.
Hope Valley's always been a little ahead of their time.
Oh, very ahead of their time.
But it's not completely impossible that it was happening here and there earlier. We do know that the word was being used, so we just
Yes, Lucas is now divested and jinxed.
Well, given all of his inventions, well, let's just say that Ned started this new trend of saying Jinx, buy me a soda. He does own the soda shop, so it was probably an early slogan for the soda shop.
Probably jinx buy me a soda, and
Yeah,
Ned probably
that's
came up with
come
it.
to the Yosts.
I was watching the episode earlier this week about him inventing the adhesive bandage. I
Which
just
you
thought,
could
oh,
sell at the pharmacy at the soda shop.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
absolutely.
quite the businessman.
Okay, I have a very big question of the day for you.
Okay.
Why is it so meaningful that the title of this episode is Lost and Found Again?
My theory when I heard it was really just that Jack's essence had been lost. And I loved the line when, she's talking about how memories are more important than things. And he's like, I don't have any memories. And it's almost like everyone kind of forgot that because they have memories. And she does talk about him all the time, but that's not a memory to hear a story about someone.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to feel like he doesn't have that connection. And so that connection was the medal, and he lost that, but he found the connection again.
Very profound, and it could very well be an answer. And no, you didn't miss anything. I discovered this quite by accident. Episode 1 of season 1, the very first TV episode of When Calls the Heart, is called Lost and Found.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
uh-huh.
Hmm. So, what about it do you think that means?
It's bringing back memories. It's bringing back the past. And we all know all of those memories that were talked about. We all know them. We all remember them. And it all started with season one, episode one, and it was called Lost and Found.
Mm, that's a really great title when you put all of that together. I was curious with the premise of this episode if they were going to do any flashbacks. Every TV show does flashback episodes, and When Calls the Heart has even done them.
Yeah.
Um, Way too early, in my opinion. Season 3, you should not be doing flashback episodes yet. Uh, you haven't had enough to flash back on. Um, I'm really glad they didn't. They absolutely could have, and it would
Yeah.
have still been great. It would have helped to visualize some of those things. It would have been nice to visually see Jack as they were talking about him. That, might have been nice, or to hear his voice as, an over, playing over a scene or something. Um, but in other ways, what I thought was really nice about not doing that is because so many of the people involved actually weren't there. And so Nathan and Allie being so involved in it and them hearing these things for the first time, it wouldn't have quite had that same weight with the flashbacks because they wouldn't have been remembering it themselves.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We were experiencing the memories the way LJ, Allie, and Nathan were experiencing them
Yeah,
because they had never heard most of these stories. I mean, Nathan, I know, had heard some of them.
probably some of them. And
Yeah.
the other piece is the things that were mentioned that we didn't know from past episodes were then also things that Elizabeth didn't know. And so it kind of mirrored the viewer's reaction,
Yeah.
what her reaction was, because when she was going, oh, every single viewer was going, oh, you know.
Yeah. Well, I was going to save the scavenger hunt for last,
But
but
we're there.
now I do have another question for you. This was an interesting thought that my husband brought up.
Uh-huh.
He said, is this a good thing or a bad thing that they are bringing up all of these past events to LJ? I know my personal answer, but
I guess I'm curious how it could be a bad thing.
that's what I said. I thought
I
it
mean, to
was
play devil's advocate, yeah, it could bring up a lot of emotions, and he could be really sad that he missed all of that. And
it could be a setback with Nathan and Elizabeth. It could be putting Jack more in the forefront for LJ to have more of a reason to pull the "you're not my father" stuff in later years.
yeah, I mean, that's going to happen anyway. Even Allie pulled that.
Oh, good point. Even Allie pulled that one.
Yeah. Um, I mean, from a different perspective, I will say from a completely different perspective, there is a negative aspect to it in that potentially parties could get upset remembering Jack, remembering all of the things that made people sad years ago, and maybe some people didn't even want to watch after Jack died, and maybe people were really upset, and that I mean, I know tons of people that have said like, "Oh, I have recently gone through a loss when that happened, and so it was just too traumatic for me to deal with watching that on the screen also because it's my happy show." All those kinds of things,
Yep.
which again aren't bad, because it's a TV show and bad stuff happens on TV shows and we get through it and it's not real. Uh, all of those things and everything has played out beautifully where we're at now. We're happy with where we're at now, but I can see playing that devil's advocate that the writer's room was probably discussing like if we do this, if we bring Jack up too much, will that create tension? Will that drive some viewers away because they want to live in the happy and the now? That would be the only negative I could see as being a potential issue. But I also don't feel like that's the case. And the few people that might not want to hear about Jack anymore because they want to be happy with Nathan. I mean, I think that's going to be very few people comparatively to the people that enjoy seeing that, showing that about a lost loved one and being there for a child that doesn't know how to deal with that kind of grief. That was just beautiful. And the only way that that would have gotten in the way of Elizabeth and Nathan's relationship is if Nathan let it. The fact that he didn't and how excited he was to participate in that. That's why we love Nathan.
Nathan gets the VIP award this episode. Maybe he can share it with Allie because she did an awesome thing with that story. Except she left Patrick out. But she left Patrick
I know
out.
we did love Patrick.
We love Patrick.
Constable O'Reilly?
Yes.
Yes.
But Nathan gets the VIP because I was watching him. He was all in from the moment LJ said, I think I lost my dad's medal. He reacted to show that it is just as important to him that LJ not lose the medal as it is to LJ. He said, please don't tell. Nathan covers for him. They retrace the steps. He suggests it to LJ that they retrace his steps. They look, they go up and down the trail 10 times, he said, looking and looking. They take Mountie business time during the day, and it's Bill, Oliver, and Nathan out looking for the medal, and they can't find it. And then by extension, Allie and Oliver are going to keep looking for it. Do you think they're going to find it? Do you think they're going to?
I think they will eventually. I don't know if it'll be this season, but I have a feeling that'll come back at some point.
I wondered if they were going to kind of do the wrap up in a little bow thing, that they stop looking for it and then it appears like, oh, look, here it is. But in a way, I'm glad that they didn't because it proved the point that Elizabeth was trying to make, that people are more than things. And if they had found the medal, everything would have been okay all around. But because they didn't find the medal, they had to find different avenues to make it okay. And I would not mind in the least for them to find the medal another time. In fact, I really want them to. But I am glad that we had
closure without finding it.
We had closure without finding it, and we also had the symbol of LJ being your dad's greatest Medal of Honor. Because he is. LJ is his dad's greatest Medal of Honor. But I'm going to get to that in a second. I was watching Kevin McGarry while they were doing the scavenger hunt, when they were going through the book at the end, when he was listening to Charlotte read the letter. When Elizabeth said, Jack said, Mounties never marry, Nathan got this quirky, it was very small, but he got this quirky, look on his face, almost like he was momentarily laughing at the thought that Mounties never get married. And judging from what we are seeing in the previews for the next episode, Nathan is going to prove that slogan wrong.
So, okay, so what, real quick, based on watching that then, because I watched him, but I don't think I was watching it the way you were. Do you think throughout this process of the scavenger hunt is when he fully decided that he was ready?
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if, when she said, Jack said Mounties never marry, and listening to someone who had acted so cynical about marriage talk about the dream he had for the future. Yes, I wrote it down. So
Okay, well,
might as
that's not surprising.
might as well. Standing by the waterfall, the water loud enough to quiet my thoughts, I realized I only need three things in this life to be happy: to one day be the best Mountie I can be, to find a woman foolish enough to be my wife, and, God willing, to look into the eyes of a little boy brought into this world by love. Is there any greater miracle than that? That short letter captured so much of Jack's essence. The language
Yeah,
is just how I remember him.
yeah, it's exactly how he would have spoken it. Yeah.
Yeah. And to hear that he had written that during basic training, and then you go back to the way he was in episode 1.
Mhm. But like Rosemary said, if you think about his timeline of life, it does make sense that he would have really struggled after everything that happened with her.
After the Broadway bound bombshell, it kind of put him off of those dreams.
Yeah.
Well, and the ironic thing is, he probably had Rosemary in mind when he wrote that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you notice how they wove the tale around Rosemary being in love with Jack, but they never said it?
Oh, I need to mention that part in the scavenger hunt. He'll find out someday.
When he ran up to her, I went, "Oh no.
What is she
Oh,
gonna say?
what how are they going to do this?" And then Lee says, "Because of Jack, I met the love of my life." I said, clever. Clever.
Which is true.
It is true. It just took
Just
a
leaving out
round.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a smidge of information.
Which memory was your favorite?
I can't pick one. I mean, if I have to pick one, it's Gowan, of course. But I really don't want to pick one.
Okay, so if you have to pick one, it's Gowan.
If I
Tell
have
me
to
why.
pick one, it's Gowan. So we'll talk about that first.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you're gonna say that somebody left something out of a memory, I feel like he left out more than Rosemary, to be honest.
Yes, but he admitted that he was not a very
No.
good person. And
As
you don't want to get too graphic
no,
with the
you
poor
don't.
kid.
You don't. But so as a teacher who works with young children,
Yes.
It's always that fine line of how much do you share? How do you censor something? How do you tell the truth without, while keeping it age appropriate, you know? And Gowan is somebody who, as we've discussed many, many times, he is somebody who shockingly is one of the best people on this show with children. And we're really not sure how that happened, but it did. And maybe it's just the most unexpectedly good with children, I guess.
Yeah.
Other people are really great with children, but it always just shocks me how good he is with little people.
Yes.
And it was the perfect explanation. It was the perfect memory. You have to wonder how much, I mean, it's a show, it was written, but like you have to, in the context of the show, wonder
Yes.
how
And
much was discussed about what each person would say, or if they were just each asked to share a memory, because it was so well divided into different traits of Jack,
yeah.
talking about kindness, talking about bravery, talking about being welcoming, just all the different qualities that made him the hero that he was.
And all the different
Yeah,
ways he changed their lives.
exactly. And so it was just beautiful that it they were able to take real things from the history of the show and pick characters who are still on the show, who have been here for so long, who all had a different quality that helped come together to form a whole picture, really, of who he was.
Yeah.
Instead of them all just sharing a story about how brave he was, or all just sharing a story about his friendship, they were able to really hit so many different aspects of who he was as a person. It just gave LJ such a well-rounded view of his father that he wouldn't have had any other way.
You know what would have been a good one to do for his humor? We got the prankster kind of thing with the test that Elizabeth gave him, which I was so happy that they included the test. But what would have been really funny is if they had had Florence and Molly do one of the memories talking about the bear and how Jack had tricked them into staying inside their house for 2 or 3 days.
But anyway, so that was my initial part of the Henry discussion, was just really being able to feel how it encompassed so many different aspects of Jack. But again, Henry being able to pinpoint a moment with Jack that really truly was what started him noticing that he could truly be included in the town. Because you're right, so many other people in this town could have shared memories. And the fact that Henry's memory was about being included, and then he showed his appreciation to Nathan for being included in the scavenger hunt, is what just killed me. Because and especially Nathan said, especially with everything going on right now with him, with his son Christopher, with him being a worried dad, him being a worried dad and helping his late friend's son while helping his current friend's stepson, like feeling included in that with the whole town. Like there's just so many layers to that one. So not even counting about the fact that he's truly admitting to a young child who looks up to him that he was a bad guy, but also then just having that whole conversation really be full circle, that Jack was the one who included me, and look, now Nathan's including me in the family, and seeing that importance. That was just very special.
Yeah. Henry says, I could be a part of something if I wanted to be. and now he wants to be. And you're like you said, he was included because they knew that he would want to be included. And I think Jack changed Gowan as much as he changed Faith. And I think probably the most humorous part of Henry's story was his definition of a bachelor party. Talk a bunch of nonsense and play checkers.
That's fair. Yeah, that's again, way to bring it down to the age appropriate level. I love it.
That's right.
I love it. Oh, Faith. What about Faith? She
Oh,
announced in
Faith.
season 2, which is shocking. Like it doesn't feel like it. Faith had just such a history with them. She, had met him when he was really struggling in his relationship with Elizabeth, and they were great friends, and she took care of his brother, and there was just so many different aspects of it. And then when she
She
showed up,
encouraged him. She
yes,
encouraged him to not forget who he was and to not lose himself in all of this hoopla.
yes. Um, but there was moments from the very start where Elizabeth had, pangs of jealousy about it and not knowing who she was and what he was, who he was talking to.
That is when I was the most angry with Elizabeth.
Really, in the whole series?
No.
Okay. I'm like, I can pinpoint a few more times that you were angry.
Oh, oh yes. Oh yes. And there were also times when I was very angry with Faith. But
That's fair.
but
That's fair. But it all seemed to be a misunderstanding in the end.
yes. But um there up until season 8, that is the most angry that I was with Elizabeth.
That's fair. Season 2 was a little angering
Oh, it was very angry.
at a lot of people, not just her.
And it was making me so angry that Elizabeth was being so accusatory towards Jack's relationship with Faith when you turn around and she's slapping him in the face with Charles. It
Yeah.
just drove me absolutely batty.
I was
And
just gonna say, was it batty?
yes, yes, it drove me absolutely batty.
Just like, just like Jack and Elizabeth. That's the
Just
perfect
like
word.
Jack and Elizabeth.
It just came naturally. Well, I could go on and on about season 2, so we'll move on. But Faith being able to share her friendship with him and having Elizabeth standing there looking at her telling the story with love and with friendship and knowing all the positive things that came out of it and not having any of that jealousy remain and not having any ill feelings towards her feeling, she trusts her. She trusts her
Completely.
with her child's life. And it's just really beautiful to see how the two of them have come. I don't know if we really mentioned that in the last episode, but just like seeing Faith come and talk to her about parenting and just like seeing them connect because the two of them don't connect about personal things very much. They have a lot of like doctor patient conversations.
Yeah.
So I'm just really liking seeing those connections when they happen, when you're like, oh, I haven't seen that in so long. And it just shows that deep community spirit because you don't get to see everything all the time. And it shows what happens kind of in the scenes that aren't being filmed, what would be happening.
And the other thing is, Faith becoming a doctor happened so gradually
Mhm.
and over so much time that I didn't even really consider that Jack was a part of her becoming a doctor. And for them to bring that back, to
Mhm.
bring it forward in our memories, that he was the one who encouraged her to take over the infirmary, and that
Yeah.
started it all in being the only medical professional in a town to take care of a whole town
Mhm.
until Carson came along.
Yeah.
And then what she said, he gave me courage. And you have your daddy's brave heart. It just put all of these things that we've seen over the years in a different light.
Mhm. Definitely. Mm.
Okay, jail.
That was the cutest one.
It was the cutest one. For a split second, for a split second, I thought that it was going to be Henry.
Yeah, me too.
But then I thought, no, it's Bill. And turns out we were both right. And I also am very happy that they went the other way because Henry being in jail was such a thing for so long.
I think that's the part where it wouldn't have been age appropriate, is if you
Yeah.
made Henry being a bad guy too real and too dramatic. Um, that would have been hard for LJ to understand. Whereas doing the jail talk about something that was a misunderstanding and
Yeah.
then just explaining he was a bad guy for Henry and not ever even saying he went to jail.
Yeah.
I think that
And
was more appropriate.
and the more important overlying theme is that starting in episode 1, Lost and Found, Henry never belonged.
Yeah.
He always stood above, he always stood apart. He never belonged with them. And so that was the more important aspect to cover with Henry. But yeah, for a split second, I thought, jail. Ooh, are they doing? No, they're going to do Bill. And oh, I loved that storyline anyway. That was one of season two's really
Oh,
great storylines because I honestly didn't know if Bill was a bad guy or not. I went, okay, I trust him. No, I don't. Okay, all right, now I see. Okay, I trust him again. No, he just did it again. So,
they wrote the, I mean, you have to, no matter what people feel about season two, anybody has to admit, I think, that that storyline was written so well.
Bills, absolutely.
Built to really suspect and really not know what was going on and really question him until the last second. And even when you start thinking, yeah, I think I believe him, for you to not know that Jack believed him yet
Yes.
until they solved it. It came together so beautifully, and it really was one of the times. They've done it other times, but sometimes things are a little more predictable, and that was one of those things that was just so up in the air that you did not know what was coming. Was so well done.
I could have stood to have Nora out of the picture, but
That's an interesting one.
yeah, I'm glad they didn't say anything about her.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessary here for
No,
sure.
no.
I still wouldn't mind seeing her again in the future if it was the right storyline. I think you could do another interesting storyline with her for one or two episodes, passing
Maybe.
through something. You could. And Christina's so fun that it would be kind of neat to see.
And then the first clue, the saloon. We don't think about the hubbub that the saloon was before it became the Queen of Hearts hubbub.
Right? It's
Yeah.
just been it's just been this great, almost sophisticated establishment for so long now that it is hard to think about the history, the origin. And
And the schoolhouse slash church has been more of the hubbub. They've gathered there a lot to do the things that happen, but it's, I mean, the dances have mostly happened at the saloon, and school was in the saloon for so long, and weddings have happened in the saloon, and wedding receptions, and
mhm.
so many things.
I will say, I actually thought that was going to come up in the other conversation about the Benson Hill Schoolhouse when they were talking about where their replacement building was going to be until their school was built. I really expected Elizabeth to say, before this schoolhouse was built, we had school in a saloon and it was crazy, but it worked. And there, and I've got fond memories of it. And like she could have told some stories about that, or, and it would have been a good episode to do that, seeing as how they were doing the scavenger hunt and going down memory lane also.
Yeah.
Is that they very easily could have explained that, when she first moved there, that was their school. Um, at the same time that minors were coming in for a drink.
No, no, they couldn't come until after 4:30.
Well, they tried though. They
They
did try.
tried.
They did try.
and uh and Andrew Walker tossed him out.
Another interesting character from the past that we'll talk about another time.
I love you, Andrew.
We do love him, but that character, oofed.
Oh, we hate that character.
The saloon and how she started the scavenger hunt.
Okay.
That you mentioned this before, but that test, I hadn't thought about that test in a long time.
I thought about the one that she gave him, but I didn't even think about the one that he gave her. I went, "Oh yeah, he
Right?
he did the whole turnaround thing."
They pulled such great aspects, and like I said before, such different parts of him. It was so great to see not only her telling him about the funny side of his dad, but really telling kind of an intimate detail of their love story.
That they
And
were two stubborn goats.
well, just even telling him that they didn't admit for a long time that they liked each other.
Yeah.
I mean, what a hard thing to tell a story about. Like when you've lost someone and like just even talking about him has got to, on the surface, be really hard for her. And then, to be sharing those details in front of your new boyfriend and his daughter. And like, it's just so nice and so comfortable. And that's what this whole episode did for me, is that it solidified how comfortable everybody is with each other. It solidified that they're a family. Having Charlotte refer to Allie as someone in the family.
In the family. Yes.
when it's like the way she hugged her as much as LJ.
Yeah.
The way Allie was just as excited to see her as LJ was. Finding out that Charlotte has the same art connection that Jack had, and that she now illustrated Allie's book the way Jack illustrated Elizabeth's book. It's
that picture of Jack on the horse. That's when I almost lost it. I was doing fine with almost everything else. It was a little rough when Lee pulled out the plans for the schoolhouse. I
we
got
didn't even mention that yet.
yeah,
Oh,
I got really close. I got really close to tears there. But when open the book and there's a drawing of Jack, I went, oh my gosh.
And to think about how hard that would have been for Charlotte to
Yes.
draw that. Just awesome.
When you were talking about things being comfortable, that brought up another point that I had with Will saying, was this a good thing or a bad thing?
Right.
And one point that he made is it should have been either all Lucas or all Nathan. Yeah, leave it to my husband to say that. But LJ never knew his dad. He's only known people who were or are going to become father figures. And one thing that I thought of is if she was already married to either one of them,
Hmm.
this might be a little bit different and it might not be the best idea. But LJ has grown up with his mother being a single mother. He wants to know who his father is. He wants to know, and he has questions about where he came from, what he inherited from his father, and he wants to know that part of his heritage, especially since he still has his grandmother on that side. He has not grown up a with an actual legal father figure in his life. He has only grown up with a single mother and men around him who have become uncles and father figures, but not an actual father. And so he wanted to know that part. It was a beautiful thing for us and it was a beautiful thing for LJ. And I think it offered one more layer of healing for Elizabeth and those closest to Jack. But that's one thing that I felt really strongly about is because LJ has not had a father, he needs to know about his father.
Well, and I also was thinking about it from like the writer's perspective again is, you're moving season 13 clearly towards an end goal here.
Little
Um,
one.
and it's been pretty obvious that, the goal is that they're going to get married. And so if you're looking as a writer at like how that progression goes and how to really make things like meaningful in this blended family, I mean, having them go through this step together as a family, recognizing the past, Allie bringing up her mom and how that like connects to creating this idea is that it is kind of all of them coming together to plan this and using information from, what she did, what she does when she's missing her mom and what Nathan does to help her with that and how they can meld all of that together.
And not a hint of jealousy, not a hint of defensiveness or insecurity. Allie and Nathan were all in, and they were more than happy to be a part of this whole thing. And I mean, yeah, maybe that's a little too good to be true, and it's a TV show, so who cares? But I loved the fact that they were so supportive to the point that they went through the whole thing with them.
Yeah, it just, for me, it was solidifying them as a family. It's showing how comfortable Nathan truly is in this role, and then giving him the opportunity to say that to LJ, which we've been waiting for all season, is for him to have an actual, they've had great moments of bonding, but something where it's actually addressed.
Yeah, I know it's not the same as having your real dad, but I'll always be here for you.
Yeah. And it was something that while it didn't have to happen, the fact that that all happened before an engagement, I think actually does just make it that much stronger. It's not like, it's gonna have, LJ already has asked if they're gonna get married, so we know that it's on his mind and that he knows that's a step that could take place, and he seems comfortable with it. But having all of these factors, like it's going to make him feel growing up like they are supportive of him, like they aren't threatened by his dad, like he is safe to talk about his dad and have pictures of his dad around the house. And he doesn't have to have that. I remember this actually popped into my head, the pilot episode of the Brady Bunch. Did you ever see the pilot episode?
Yes.
And they're, Mike and Carol are getting married and they each have these three kids. And, the lore of the show is that the boy's mom has passed away, but the girl's parents are divorced.
Yeah.
Even though we never see him or have him referenced again. Uh,
Yeah.
but there's a picture that Bobby has of his mother.
Uh-huh.
He's hiding it because he doesn't want his new mom, Carol, to feel bad about that.
Yeah.
He's sad about it. And so, there's this lovely conversation about how she doesn't want you to forget your mom. She's gonna be there for you. But, we value the past and we value where you came from. We value what you need and what makes you happy and comfortable, and that doesn't have to change. And I mean, it does because they never mention her again in the whole series, but um it was so beautiful, and it goes to show like how you have to treat a blended family differently. It is a different coming together story than a single man and a single woman who don't have children coming together to get engaged. It's a very different story, and I
Yeah.
love that. We've talked about wanting the engagement to look different than her engagement to the other guys, but it's about the story being unique. It's about their love story being unique and about them going through different steps to become a family. And that has been very unique and very intentionally done, I believe,
Yeah.
this season. I know you've been really sad about the lack of kisses, as most of the Hardys probably have been, but
It's a joke. I didn't even care that there wasn't a kiss in this one, by the way, even though it's the fourth episode in a row.
nobody's
But
counting.
no,
Um,
no one's counting, but I didn't care this time.
but but besides that fact, it has clearly been extremely intentional, the steps they've been taking. And people can say till they're blue in the face that, they should get engaged already. They should have been engaged already. They should have been married by now. I love the story as it has played out and how strong it lets them be before they become engaged, and how secure Jack, LJ, and Allie will feel as they grow up. I mean, she's already grown, but like how secure they now feel in this. It wasn't rushed. Everybody feels like this is the right match. Everybody feels like it's a family and not just the adults coming together and forcing the kids together. It's so genuine. So speaking of LJ, let's talk about Hyland.
Ho ho.
He has had some fabulous moments over the years, but this was like his shining episode, his moment in the spotlight. He had so many lines, so many marks he had to hit, so many expressions he had to emote. Like, this really was such a big moment for him. And,
Yeah.
Kid actors sometimes doesn't work out. Sometimes they don't fully look like they're in it. But this was so well done, especially for a kid his age, but really for any child. He's really been growing up on this show and getting really comfortable with all the other actors, and especially I think with Jada, being like his sister. I just feel like he's just so well with her, and I just love their little friendship that they've got going on. But all of his scenes were spot on. It really made a difference because in an episode that was really all about his character, it could have really fallen flat.
It could have very easily.
And
And
I don't think
if
it did.
he didn't have that emotion behind every single one of those discoveries, if he didn't feel that loss of the medal, and if he didn't get upset and angry at the thought of it being gone forever and that it was his fault, you could feel that weight on
Yeah.
him, that he thought this was all his fault and that it's never going to be made right again. It was he was marvelous. He was absolutely marvelous.
Yeah. I thought that was amazing, and I want to pinpoint the thing that got me, that was just the facial expression and just the like nonverbal,
Yeah.
is when he saw the plans for the schoolhouse that his dad made, and he just stood there and was tracing the lines with his finger. That is so what a little kid would do.
Absolutely.
My dad drew this line. My dad drew this line. My dad drew this line. Like the amazement, the fascination of that specific moment. I was just blown away by Hyland. Such a great job.
That kid is going places.
Yeah.
He really is. In any other circumstance, I would say he did his research, but
Probably
but
not.
in this particular episode, they probably didn't want him watching those other episodes, and they didn't want him meeting Daniel, which I doubt that that has happened because he hasn't been involved. But they wanted it to be an unknown.
Yeah.
And just for him to be where he's at right now, it was such a sweet spot.
Hmm.
That's, and you can tell that this kid has got innate talent and he's not trying too hard in front of the camera. It's just happening. And then you put all of this history that we know on
Hmm.
top of it. And he just glides through it like a map. And he took us on a journey. That's the bottom line. He took us on a beautiful journey and he led the way beautifully.
Yeah. And also just a shout out to everybody on that show. Everything I have heard is just how accommodating and welcoming the cast and crew are to the children that are on
Mm-hmm.
this show, and how much they support them and give them tips and develop relationships with them so that they feel comfortable on set. And like, I mean, Erin posts birthday things for every single person that's ever been connected to the show,
Yeah.
and and actually spends time with them. I've seen her post photos of like going out and hanging out with them off set, like a group of the kids. And it's just a testament to how great a young child can be, because even if Hyland is this amazing kid actor, if he was on a set with people that weren't happy about being around kids and weren't happy about having to act with kids, it could have come off very differently. And
It would have. It
it
would
could
have
have
come off very
looked like
differently.
it could have looked like a disaster. But being embraced by everyone. I mean, you see the clips of how close Kevin and Jada are now after him playing her dad for so many years.
Yeah.
And Kevin and Pascal are both pretty close with both Hyland and the other kids.
How much they love to hold Ellie, who plays Goldie.
Yes.
It just,
Yes. And it's just great to see that.
yeah, it really is. I'm glad that you brought up the children because that's where I want to go next. There
Yeah.
was another boy, almost a man, who got a chance to shine. And
There was
he,
another storyline on the show, wasn't there?
oh, yeah, there was.
Yeah.
And he brought along the best collaborator ever with him. I am,
Again,
of course, referring to Rupert Ed Opal.
Rupert's been really fun this year. I really like just how quirky and excited he gets about things. Um, it's been a nice kind of change of pace from some of the other kids in town, and just really fun to see, especially in this episode, how he kind of bounces off other people. Um,
Nobody's been a nobody's been a true nerd. We've had bookworms
yep,
and loners, but we've never had an actual nerd who is very studious, nerd in every sense of the word, stereotype,
the
physical look.
stereotypical,
The
yes.
yes, we haven't had one of those on the show yet. And so I thought that he was fantastic. I'm so glad that he got that chance to have his moment because he's had little moments
Yeah,
since he's appeared, but this was, I mean, the second half of the episode was his episode.
yeah.
Um, my favorite moment of his has to be the look on his face when Lucas comes up and asks if he can take their plans. His expression, that looked like a modern day child meeting their favorite movie star or a kid on a basketball team meeting LeBron James. You know, I mean, any of those any of those
Yeah,
comparisons, any of those metaphors, that's exactly what he looked like. And it was fabulous. That had to be his best moment. And what I loved especially was how Chris played with it. He
Mhm.
didn't make a big deal about Rupert's reaction to him, but you could tell by the smile on his face that he was enjoying it, but he wanted to show Rupert that he's a normal person. He puts his shoes on one foot at a time, you know. But I loved the way that Chris played Lucas right there he because he played the part of a celebrity toning everything down to show them that he is a normal person, but he's going to take their work and he's going to make something great out of it with the authority that he has.
Yes. And honestly, this was just a fabulous Lucas episode. I think with Lucas just really standing up for what he's believing in, he's really, he told Edwin, I don't want, I'm not going to take this lying down. I'm going to keep governing. Um, and then,
Oh,
and then,
that was one of my
yeah,
favorite lines because Edwin said going against the of the territorial assembly would be the kiss of death for the campaign. I loved what Lucas said. It was quick, it was witty, it was right on point, and it was moral, which, you know,
right.
put it all together, it was fantastic. To the kiss of death for the campaign would be to quit governing, then ask them for another term. Yeah, I just went, oh, stick it to the henchmen.
Yeah. what I like is that he keeps Edwin around because he is good at his job in a lot of ways, but he also has gotten to the point where he will, put him in his place and be like, no, we're not doing that.
A lot of times leaders are afraid of their aides, and it's almost as if they have more power than the person in the position, and
Yeah.
because they have the power over the person in the position.
And it
And
kind of started out that way.
it did, but I think that Lucas gave in to Edwin, but I don't think he was ever afraid of him.
No, but
Yeah.
he was afraid of rocking the boat. He didn't really know
Yes.
how much he could do, how much control he could take.
But he is a bold progressive thinker.
Yes. With a really big crush on someone. So,
Oh my gosh. Of course we have Florence
oh,
singing. I'm just getting to the best part. He's about to apologize. At least he better be. But that is three dedicated people right there. The two who are actually working, and then the one doing the eavesdropping.
I'm actually really glad that she did that because I was kind of starting to think that Florence was just get mellowing out.
Had mended all of her eavesdropping and gossiping ways.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to know that she was, she's still our Florence.
This isn't one of your novels. Oh, Ned. But when Lucas said, I read a story about a machine that could travel through time, and he wanted one so that he could go back and he could take himself by the shoulders and shake him and say, forget all of your fears and just follow your heart before it's too late. And then he says that heartbreaking two-word question, is it? By the way, I would like you to acknowledge that I was right. She took the position.
Yeah, that was really surprising. But at the time, she had just gone for the interview. To
She
be clear,
took the position.
we were
Oh,
both
come on.
correct.
Give me that.
She wasn't leaving to already take the job because that was our original discussion was had she already gotten the job. She had not already gotten the job. She went for an interview and then she accepted it. So I think we're both right.
I think that Lucas's knack for mixing business with pleasure is sly in the best way.
Yeah.
I think it is brilliant. I think he is trying so hard to show her that he's serious and that he wants her in his life, even if he's scared. He just has to drum up the courage, but I think he has found the courage, but now she has lost it.
But I also want to point out that this episode did not have any games. He told her how he felt. He asked for a second chance. She laid out that he didn't give her a reason to stay. She was very honest.
And then when he asked her if it was too late, she backed
She
off
avoided,
and
yeah, she avoided the question.
she avoided the question and said, let's get some sleep. Click.
Yeah.
So that if you're only going to give me half with the job, I'm giving you half with no games. Because that was a teeny, she wasn't doing it to play a game. That's
Right.
what I'll say.
Yeah.
But it was a tactic. and she didn't need to do that.
But I also don't know if it was a tactic against him or a tactic because she didn't know what to say yet and she had to think about it.
I would have preferred her to say,
Yeah.
I need to think about that, rather than avoid the question, say, we need to get some sleep. You're talking crazy because we've been up all night.
No, I agree with
and
that too. But in
and
the
hang
moment,
up the phone.
in the moment, I was glad she didn't get more confused, and
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
try to make it like she didn't tell him no either.
No. No.
Because
So we're going to look at this
she
as a glass
knew,
half full.
she knew she wasn't ready to close that door, but she wasn't ready to open it again.
Yeah. And the other thing is, she would not be helping him if there was nothing there. It doesn't matter if he's the governor or not.
Yeah,
She
no.
would not be helping him if there was nothing there. And she knows that he's trying to be a good person. She knows that he wants to honor his promises. And that's why this is so hard. We didn't even talk about this really, but I think part of the problem is he is very much in the public eye now. And he has to be even more careful because it was bad enough that he was running for governor and his fiance broke up with him. What would happen if he was the governor, up for re-election no less,
Mhm.
and had this big romantic debacle?
Yeah. That's a whole other aspect I really didn't think about.
I don't know for sure that it's playing a part in his hesitation, but it would not surprise me if it was, because it's something that he has to consider, and
Mhm.
he never had to consider it before.
And it also could be something that's holding her back.
Getting involved with the governor, absolutely.
And her being in the public eye, just like that bothered Elizabeth to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And it
So,
could even not even be for herself. She might not want to do that to him.
yeah. So she quietly slips out of Hope Valley and takes a job in Union City to just put some space between the two of them so that it doesn't turn nasty, because she thought that it was over, which
Yeah.
it's not. We just have to wait for both of them to figure that out. And we have to wait for Lucas to come out of his divested and jinxed stage.
I wonder what the next stage of that is, if it's like a three-part stage.
You got
Maybe
me.
next week we'll have a new word.
And maybe next week we'll, I don't want to say we'll have made progress, because progress was made.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
stayed up all night together
And solved the problem.
and solved the problem at hand. So progress was made, because in solving that problem politically,
Yes.
they helped solve the problem, at least communication wise. Personally, they made steps in communication. So I I hope that in the next episode we see even more progress made.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
And with that, I think it's time for us to make progress on ourselves and get some rest.
We are not going to pull an all-nighter like the two of them did.
No, we are not going to record all night. Sorry, Hearties. So, we hope that you have enjoyed this very deep thinking episode. I always love it. I always love it when that happens. So, thank you for being a great collaborator.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the process as well, Hearties.
So, wherever you are in your day, morning, afternoon, or evening, remember to make it a great one. We hope that you feel loved, you feel cherished, you feel valued, and remember that you are important because people are more than things. Bye, Hearties.
Bye.